Opponents of the strikes warn of the risk of misidentification and the very real possibility of killing civilians or fishermen who stray into trafficking lanes. At sea, small, open boats are common in coastal communities. Mistaken identity can have catastrophic results, and the families of those killed will seek answers. Those concerns are amplified by the pattern of operations over recent weeks, multiple strikes across the Caribbean, and now 2 in the Pacific in as many days. Each additional strike raises the stakes for accountability. The political context in which these strikes have been ordered is unmistakable. The White House has signaled a hardline posture toward drug flows and toward countries accused of harboring or enabling the cartels. The use of military force in this counter-narcotics role represents a significant policy shift, one that has consequences for US alliances, for regional stability, and for how the rule of law is observed in the hemisphere. It presses questions about escalation. If maritime strikes continue, will land operations follow? Comments by administration figures have suggested that confrontations on land are not off the table, and that prospect has created alarm among policymakers and diplomats. Legal scholars point to the thinness of public legal justification. Under the US Constitution, Congress has the power to declare war. The use of force by the executive branch generally requires congressional authorization unless it falls under narrow self-defense exceptions. International law also requires that force be necessary and proportionate, and that states respect the sovereignty of others. The administration's argument that these cartel groups constitute terrorist threats and therefore justify military measures remains controversial and is being litigated politically and legally in public debate. Beyond the legal and diplomatic questions, there is also a strategic question. Will strikes on small boats meaningfully choke the flow of illicit narcotics? Supply chain disruption can have an effect, but traffickers adapt quickly. They shift routes, methods, and modes of transport. They hire intermediaries and obscure financial trails. Without a robust strategy that combines interdiction, criminal prosecutions, disruption of money flows, and demand reduction at home, experts argue a handful of strikes will not alter the underlying market dynamics that drive the drug trade. Still, the administration's defenders say the strikes are not symbolically empty. They argue these operations impose costs on traffickers, force them to change tactics, and create windows for interdictions and arrests elsewhere. They say the saber rattling also signals a political will to confront narco-traffickers with the tools of statecraft at the highest level. Those who back this approach say the deaths of a small number of smugglers are a tragic but necessary cost in a campaign to reduce the vast number of deaths caused by narcotics across the country.